we're going to see an HEX sell-off. We might see a PHEX sell-off of whatever they have over there, whatever that will be in dollar terms or ratio trading, whatever, to buy Pulse. So we know that's what everybody wants to do. And we are going to head into the next part here. So this is going to get interesting. We're getting into the DeFi. We're going to get into the HEX stuff. So let's get into this HEX price. So this is the tinfoil hat conspiracy thing, whatever you want to call it. I don't really think that we're dealing with any kind of a real conspiracy thing here. But Ewok, you kind of let off the show with it when we were looking at the price charts. So, all right. You see the thumbnail. We're talking about May. Will PulseChain be out this month? This is the month that many people suspect that this thing is coming out. So there's a lot of interesting things happening with the HEX price in response to that. I think most people have thought all along, or the narrative had been, oh yeah, well, obviously it's going to pump to the high heavens whenever this thing is about to launch. Well, we saw a pump up a little bit over 12 cents live when we were on air when the Testnet V3, that's not the most recent one, that's 2 testnets ago. And that was the first testnet that we had in a year, I guess at that point it would have been. I don't know. But the HEX price went crazy. We've seen it kind of, dump essentially since then. And especially over the last few days, it was just below 5 cents. Now, again, bouncing off that, which has been a level of support, getting up over 6 cents right now. Multiple people, smart people, speculating that we would see a dump around Pulse launch. We already saw a huge pump off the V3, like I said. Is the dump prior to the launch a coordinated effort, I guess I would say? And do you think this is how do you classify this, Ewok? Do you think this is a bad thing? Do you think this is a good thing, and why?
Good question.
Well, first off, is it a coordinated effort? What do you think's happening here? Is this just organic?
Yeah, I think it's organic. I think it's a combination of a couple things. I think there are people that don't follow social media a whole lot that have bought in maybe, and they're not in the Twitter and the Telegram and the groups and the so they may not know exactly what's going on. Although if you're a whale like that and you've got that much, like millions and millions to dump, you would think you would check on it, right? Like, what's the status here before I go dump a bunch of coins? Or maybe they're just so in profit already because they bought so early that they needed it for a different investment. I'm really not sure, man. It confuses me because, again, we've both speculated that the closer we get, the price would run up, the excitement would happen, kind of creating its own FOMO. And we're not seeing that. So then the speculation comes into play that we were talking about a little bit ago, and they think they want to, whales play whale games, and they can kind of control the price. So maybe they want that ratio lower so that they can control it a little bit more when PulseChain does launch, and maybe they'll just buy it right back up. So, yeah, I don't know what to think. It confuses the crap out of me because, again, I've foreseen more of a pump. I thought we would make it probably to 20 cents by the time PulseChain launched, but currently it doesn't appear that way.
So my take on it is this. So there are obviously, anytime a price moves this much, there can be some whale activity for sure. And either way, big wallets, obviously this is crypto. We don't know who every single wallet is or really any of them. But I do think that we are seeing something that might not be just normal, totally organic stuff. I think that if you think about these two scenarios, so with PulseChain on the precipice of launching, supposedly, we imagine here, we already saw that huge pump off V3, which I think that would be expected, like just a V3 announcement like that of the testnet, with so little news prior to that. And really the only pump in 2023 was just off of, the market kind of turning around. We saw it go from 1.8 cents to maybe like 5 or 6 or so, right around where we are now before
Yeah.
that V3 announcement. And then we
Yep.
just saw like this huge pump. Yeah. So I think that it would make sense instead because, hey, we know what everybody's plan is. I mean, we already know this. When PulseChain launches, everybody wants to acquire Pulse. We know this. We've had polls run by myself and way larger accounts. You hear people talk about it all the time. Pulse is the thing everybody wants to accumulate because many of these people missed the sacrifice phase for Pulse, which was 2 years ago almost.
Right.
Okay. We have to remember at this point, which is an eternity in crypto. And if they were in on either sacrifice phase, a year and a half ago almost, they were in on the Pulse X sacrifice in like January 2022. So we know, because people have said it, unless they're all getting together and lying mutually, that we're going to see an HEX sell-off. We might see a PHEX sell-off of whatever they have over there, whatever that will be in dollar terms or ratio trading, whatever, to buy Pulse. So we know that's what everybody wants to do. That's going to be like the scarcest asset right out of the gate. Wouldn't it make sense though? Because, you're suspecting that everybody's going to dump all this HEX too. To have Ethereum Hex dump going into the launch. So it's already kind of at a low depressed point. Then when the launch happens, for the two to reach parity, Hex on Ethereum, Hex on PulseChain, have them kind of pump up together. Don't you think maybe that would be from a kind of optics and look way and just kind of healthiness of the overall, I guess, symbiotic nature of the two networks, basically? Don't you think that would be better than, okay, EHEX went all the way up here and now it's just crashing and everything's moving to PulseChain? I mean, I don't know. To me, I think that would be interesting to have them kind of pump up together from the bottom instead of seeing this massive sell-off like that.
Yeah, I could totally see that too. But we've talked a lot of times about how arbitrage bots will probably take over, and within not too long, I think we could get parity anyway. It'll happen much faster, obviously, if the price is lower, because of the excitement on Pulse Chain, where that'll be where the majority of it is, especially if these gas prices stay the way they are. Ethereum, the EHEX, will only be the rich man's playground because the smaller investors are not going to be able to afford some of those unstake fees, even if at a couple years, let alone 15. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense too. Is just somebody wants to see parity happen faster, and unfortunately, when it launches, though, they're not going to be able to pump. You're going to have to pump each side, not just one, and have it split. So yeah, very, very, very possible.
HEXPassiveIncome.com. My friend Crypto Coffee has created what I think is probably the best course for a new cryptocurrency investor. Not only that, but these courses usually charge an arm and a leg. Crypto Coffee is only charging $200. I think right now he actually has a discount for $150. I have a link below in the description. If you are new to crypto, do not understand HEX and how it works, click the link below. It's a quick, easy course. He only gives you the basics. I personally, myself, have thought about creating an intro to crypto course in the past. I don't think there's any reason to do so because Matt, Crypto Coffee, has already taken care of that. And I don't think anything needs to be added by anybody else. So check it out. The link is in the description, and sign up to HEX Passive Income today.
I think it is possible, and I think people need to get comfortable with this. And I can say this till I'm blue in the face. I don't think anybody's going to do it because, again, if what you don't have is Pulse, you're going to go after Pulse. But it'll be hard for me. I'll say this too. To go against the grain and buy up potentially EHEX, buy more Pulse X.
Yeah.
Upon launch, that the ones that are, if whatever you get more depressed prices on, or if the ratio gets crazy between Pulse and Pulse X, getting into the one that is at a crazy discount. And, you can have this idea. I mean, you can have like a pre-launch portfolio idea in your head of like, when I have 20% Pulse, 20% Pulse, you can have that, but what's the point of buying some? I mean, there's a huge point in buying any of this stuff so early. Let's not kid ourselves. But
Right,
why
right.
not buy the thing that is more depressed? What do
Yeah.
you think about that?
Yeah, pick up what's on sale. I mean, just keep an eye out for the prices and how things are moving, and do the opposite. I think that's a great strategy for the first 2 months probably, because they're all going to have cycles. Once people see that that low price is happening, then it's going to flip back the other way. I really think it's going to flip flop many times, to see where the discount actually is.
Yes. Yeah, I think so too. And, keep in mind as we do get, I don't know if there's going to be a point this month that we are talking about Pulse Chain Mainnet, but if there is, remind everybody Ewok about, there's going to be FOMO that it's going to happen. I mean, people are going to do dumb stuff the first week, whatever, can't stop it. But tell everybody about HEX launch. I mean, talk about what the low was for HEX after launch, how the precipitous drop kind of occurred and how far out past launch that was, just to give people an idea that, be careful those first few days. Don't get yourself wrecked. People are going to do it again with ratio trading and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
get it. FOMO is tough, but remind everybody, like, you will have a little bit of time when this happens.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Hex launched at 0.00003 cents, I think. And 33 days later, the bottom was in at 0.00005655. So
Right.
it dropped
A
heavily.
zero. Yeah.
Yeah, a zero, and and then some. So yeah, it took 33 days to hit that bottom, but when it did, it never went back. So,
Right.
like I said, that first month is going to be critical. We're going to see a lot of crazy stuff. We're going to see people that have been upset that they've sacrificed and had to wait so long, that they may just dump. I don't know if it'll launch at sacrifice price or not. Probably not. Could go a little bit lower than that, but I still see people wanting some of that investment money back, because it's been so long. So
It's a
yeah,
good
pay
point.
attention, and within those first couple weeks, especially, you're going to get discounts on different things. It's the same dollar cost average, as we always talk about. Keep a little powder aside, because at least for that long, I think it could take that long to hit a floor, maybe even longer now, because it's a brand new chain. There's going to be so many other things on it. So I think within 30 days, we see maybe a bottom between 30 and 45 days. You look at the launch of other coins. Look at
Yeah.
how Ethereum launched. It actually went down too. So do look at some old charts, and see, and take an average, to get an idea of where the bottom could be. Um, there's a lot more people involved in this one, though, too, than there were Ethereum. So, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of pros. There's a lot of cons that could either speed it up or slow it down, depending on what you're looking for. But yeah, anywhere between 20 and 45 days, I think we could probably find a bottom, and it takes off from there. So
I think that is a smart thing, is to look at like some other tokens that have launched. Ethereum's probably a better recommendation than what I was going to say. But just if you wanted to look at more recent history, yeah, and you're talking about more people, being involved in the launch of Pulse Chain, obviously, and a way different community than the things I'm talking about. But just some of the things that have happened, like over the course of this last year or two. Blur, this NFT platform, Optimism, which is just kind of a useless token for a layer 2 blockchain that there's a million of, Arbitrum. I guess like what you'll see these things have in common is what Ewok is trying to say is it's not like these things launch and it's just like straight up and to the right. That's just not how it happens. So it may look like that upon launch for a little bit. But be patient. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe you can be less patient with PulseChain as opposed to some of the crap that I'm talking about right now, because it's crap, But it is, it is something that you want to remember. Like, don't get too crazy on day one.